This is Words That Change Lives, the podcast for coaches, consultants, leaders, and entrepreneurs to harness the power of their words and change lives for the better. And slightly poignant because this is the final episode of this season. This is episode 70 of this season of Words That Change Lives. And so I'm taking a moment to reflect back on these 70 episodes and have a look at what I've learned, what I've loved, and what's coming next. So if you have listened to any of the episodes, whether you have watched them on YouTube, hi, or you've listened through your ears whilst you're walking the dog, or you're in the bath, or wherever you might be, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your engagement and encouragement. And thank you for your reviews and your follows, because that has made a huge difference in the longevity of this first season. And also, it's just been a wonderful thing to get feedback. I had someone say the other day, I really like listening to the weekly episodes. I'm not finishing, but I am pausing because of what's coming next. And so in this episode, this short episode, I'm just going to be reflecting back on some key moments over the last 70 episodes with gratitude, and also think about the journey and the lessons learned. And I think when I think about the sort of the conversations that I've had, that's what I want to talk about first. Then I'm going to talk about some of the lessons, some of the things that I've really enjoyed, maybe things that I didn't enjoy so much, and then what I'm going to do going forward. So let's tuck in. The first memorable person that I want to talk about is my conversation with Yin from Traitors. And the reason why I really love this one is because I was gaining traction in who was coming on the podcast. It takes a while to gain traction in interviewing people and pitching for people to come on and communicating with them. And the more traction you have, the more episodes, the more sort of follows and reviews. Of course, you're going to attract more people to speak to. And I had watched Traitors, I'd loved it. And because Yin was this communication scientist, I absolutely had to have her on, and she said yes. And we had the most amazing conversation. Please do listen to that one if you haven't. Yin from Traitors. We're talking about communication strategies, and we're talking about how to do that effectively. And we're also layering on the Traitors experience that she had. If you don't know what Traitors is, it's a BBC program. It's a fantastic game show where people are traitors or they're faithfuls. And she was one of those stars on the show. And I loved the depth of the conversation that we had around communication. Of course, this is what I live and breathe. And having people like Yin come on gave some real different perspectives, because I'm kind of operating from my map of the world, right? I'm communicating from my knowledge, my experience within leadership development, within psychology, and on human behavior and all those sorts of things. This is my map of the world. And Yin was coming at it from a different map of the world based on her experiences and her studies and her MA in looking at data around behavior and rhetoric. So please do check that one out if you haven't done so already. And the other one that really sticks out is with Jason Rosoff from Radical Candor, the co-founder of Radical Candor. Again, if you don't know what Radical Candor is, go check it out. It's a huge movement by Kim Scott and Jason, who have created a methodology and approach for having more honest and empathetic conversations that are done in a way where you're challenging directly whilst caring personally. That's my whole ethos. It inspired my own methodology that I've been creating over the years, which I will soon be launching. So please look out for that, because it's how we can speak up more whilst feeling confident. And that's my whole story. I didn't used to have confidence in speaking up. And that's why I created this podcast. That's why I do what I do. It's my whole vision and mission is to help other people feel confident to put their hand up, to say the thing they want to say, to articulate themselves confidently and not shrink back and not let other people's voices speak louder. And so having that conversation with Jason was really inspiring, because he's done so much research. He's built a whole movement around this. So go check out that episode as well, because he just speaks so articulately, and I loved the conversation. And from these types of conversations, I have developed my skills as an interviewer, and I have really enjoyed listening to someone holding space for a conversation and then navigating that conversation to where the listener might want it to go. And I've had some really good feedback about how I do that. And I love that, because it feels really good and it feels like something I want to continue to develop. And so one thing that's been happening as a result of me putting this podcast out there and doing the thing is now I'm getting requests to do things like emceeing and being a podcast interviewer on other people's podcasts, which is very exciting because this is a skill. I do enjoy it. And by doing this and by putting myself out there in this way, it is leading to other opportunities as well as clients and corporate work and all those sorts of things, as well as increasing my reach and increasing my authority and credibility in this space. I'm having these new opportunities come my way that I wouldn't necessarily have sought out myself, but sort of carving out a whole new line in the work I do. Podcast interviewing other people, emceeing, interviewing other guests around their subject matter, and doing that in a way that feels really good and leads the conversation. So that's been really, really exciting. And watch this space because I don't know where else that's going to go. And I'm really grateful that that's happened as a result of this podcast. It's also enabled me to share my clients' journeys. And so I've really enjoyed speaking with my clients on the various episodes that I have around the TEDx journeys with my clients Tony and Zoe. We've also got people like Lisa and her story, and Jo and her expert method. All of these are my clients, and I've got more to come before. Oh, actually, you would have heard them now because this is the last episode. So you would have heard another client, Ellie. I've loved sharing their stories as well because this is the work I do and these are the people I help, and hearing, their journeys, their stories, and how our work together has helped them. And also so other people can understand how I work with people, because there was a time when people weren't really clear on how I help people. And I think this has enabled it to become clearer. And I just think that the podcast has also helped me to connect with bigger ideas. So not transactional ideas. So often as experts in our field, we hone in on the granular detail of the transactional problems we're solving. But this podcast has enabled me to sort of zoom out and look at a bigger societal element in terms of communication. And I do that with my TEDx clients. I help my TEDx clients to create ideas worth spreading at a societal level. And this podcast has helped me to zoom out and do that too, to speak to people, to cover topics that aren't in the minutiae directed alongside communication, but are linked with communication. Anna Donahay's example, the chat that I had with her, was about sobriety and how language and words within society influence how we feel about alcohol. That wouldn't necessarily be a normal leadership conversation I would have, but because of my own sobriety journey and because of talking with Anna, we were able to have these types of conversations. And I'm just really, really grateful and honored that I've been able to have these conversations with people and that they can actually bring value to others through these words. Words that change lives has been the thread that runs through this whole experience, and I've been able to do that. But there have also been, some challenges. And one thing that I did come to realize is that producing a podcast with weekly episodes takes up quite a lot of time. I've loved doing it, but it does take up a lot of time, not only in the recording of the guests and the everything that comes with that. I also have a YouTube channel to edit that, put it on the YouTube channel, the social media marketing, the content generation, the editing and things like that were done by the Fab Winter Audio, which was a fantastic thing to take off my plate. But it's a lot of work, right? And I think it's really great if you have time to do that. At the current moment, I don't have that much time. I'm a single parent. I work part-time because of my kids' needs and how much they need me, and after school activities and all the things that happen after school that I can't work, and I don't want to. I don't want to at the moment. And so this recalibration that I'm doing is stripping this all back, and it's very exciting. And I'm going to share more about that in a minute. But a weekly episode is a lot, and it was rewarding. And I'm really proud that I stuck to that schedule. And I was doing what I love, and I was talking about communication, and it's really deepened my passion for the subject. The other thing that I learned was that audio is great and video is also great. So I started off with an audio only podcast, which was fantastic. But I soon realized that I wanted to reach people in a different way. And I know, because I love watching YouTube videos, that I had to branch out in that way. And because I was recording everything in Riverside, it was all there available for me to take the episode, edit the episode, and put it onto my YouTube channel. And I've had lots of fun in learning about that. Now, I don't know if any of you are YouTube geeks, but things like thumbnails and creating the right thumbnails, the right SEO, the right titles. I have built now GPTs to create these titles for me, thumbnail ideas, the SEO for the episodes, all of that sort of stuff. And I've really learned a lot about that, as well as podcast SEO as well, and really understanding about that. And you may see in the titles of the episodes, there's been a real evolution in how I started off and where I am now, because I've really learned so much about how to title episodes, how to title thumbnails, what types of words to put on thumbnails, what types of keywords to put in the meta tags on things, and all of that technical stuff. I never had a clue about that before I started this podcast. And because I sort of branched out into video, I'm going to continue with the video element, but it's not going to be a podcast for a while. I'm going to be documenting what I'm doing, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, but it's exciting, and I'm going to continue with that. So what am I going to do next? Well, at the moment, I'm in the process of recalibration. That means I'm stripping back absolutely everything in my business and doing it completely over. So I'm just turning it upside down, basically. And I'm looking at things in terms of my 3 ideal client avatars. I'll explain a little bit more about them. I have my corporate ideal client avatar, which I deliver leadership communication, influencing, coaching, executive coaching, impact communication, impact conflict resolution, all of that sort of stuff I deliver through 2 main leadership programs. And I've got my new model launching. It's called Authentic Influence. I've got it trademarked. I've got an assessment. It's all fantastic. So that's my corporate ideal client avatar. Then I have my speaker ideal client avatar. This is the person that wants to develop a keynote talk, a signature talk, wants to land and deliver a TEDx talk, but doesn't know how. That's my speaker ideal client avatar. And then I have my thought leader client avatar, who really wants to get known as a credible authority, leading with their ideas through thought. That could be through speaking, it could be through their content, it could be through podcasting, it could be through other sort of PR media, but they really want to get known as an expert. And that's where we follow my AIR system: authority, impact, and reach. So I'm building everything based on these 3 ideal client avatars with their transformation in mind. And then I'm kind of reverse engineering everything from there. And that will include how I show up, how I market, what I'm focusing on, given the time I have in my week. And I still need to make room for like my well-being and all of my kids and all that sort of stuff as well. So I'm going to be documenting that on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to be doing that between now and when I kind of launch season 2 of the podcast. I'm going to be doing that. So please do subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done already. Helen Packham on there. Helen Packham Speaker Coach, I think, is the handle, so that you can keep following me and engaging with me. And you know, please do comment and all those sorts of things, because I'm going to be sharing what I'm doing between now and season 2. So what would season 2 look like? Well, I've been having a think about this. And at the moment, it's just ideas. But one thing I'm incredibly, incredibly passionate about is investigative journalistic podcasts. I listen to those all the time. I used to be such a music nerd, right? And I still am. I still mix and DJ as a hobby. But the investigative journalism has overtaken music in terms of what I listen to. And when I say that, I'm talking about a podcast series that is maybe 8 or 10 episodes that's focused around a story and telling a story and all angles of that story. And I love that approach. And I'm thinking that the next seasons of this podcast are going to be focused around something like that. Maybe focused around one particular idea, one particular thing that I unpack from different angles over those episodes that are going to be relevant to you if you're a leader, if you are a speaker or an aspiring speaker, or you are a thought leader or aspiring thought leader. So because of the work that I'm doing with my clients in the corporate world, I've got one-to-one clients. I'm listening to everything they're saying. There's stuff I want to share with them. Then I've got my one-to-one speaker clients and my group programs with my speaker clients. I'm listening to everything they're saying. And then I've got my thought leadership clients as well. And this is what I'm going to be doing. So hold that thought. At the moment, this is in development. The summer, I've got all sorts of things planned to be focusing on this: testing services, testing products, all of that sort of thing, to then build the podcast that people need to hear. And that will be an audio podcast, and it will be a video podcast as well. So Really, when I think back on this conclusion, before I press pause, it's actually a really good feeling. I've had so much personal and professional growth that I've gained through hosting Words That Change Lives. And it's reaffirmed how much this has meant to me on this part of my journey and what I've learned, which is a lot. I've built skills, I've learned what's important. And I just want to thank you again. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, subscribing, following, reviewing. All of those things are still important, by the way. So if you're listening to this and you haven't done that, please do follow, review, subscribe. All of those things are really important. Please do stay engaged. Follow me on the YouTube channel, because that's where I'm going to be showing up over the next few months as much as possible. I'm aiming to do it weekly, but we shall see. Keep an eye out on my social media channels as well, and get in touch if you want to know or you want to put your ideas forward of what I should do next in terms of season 2 of this podcast and what you want to hear. Please let me know. Thank you so much for listening, and watch this space for what's coming next.